I'm delighted to be presenting to you today, and just let me know, Cornelia, if there's any issues with my sound or anything.
No, it's perfect. You sound fine, Patricia.
I'll just go into maybe presenter mode here. Now, I should just make it a little bit easier for you guys to see my slides.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Okie doke. Okay, so yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm, like I said, I'm a complete newbie to this whole field of action research. So I'm like the little puppy, really excited about it all, and just thank you for making me feel so welcome into this community. Just to I suppose, to explain the title, and I timed this earlier. I'm 10 minutes, so hopefully I can do it in the 10 minutes. I probably should set my timer. Just to explain the title, Self-Study Action Research, Bird's Eye View. The reason I called it the Bird's Eye View is because I've basically been involved in coordinating and overseeing this project with the organisation I work for. And it's important, I suppose, to state that I'm not one of the participants in the project itself, so hence the bird's eye view. I'm a bit like, you know, these volunteers at the music festivals who get in for free. They kind of see it all, but they're not performers or participants. So hence the title. So see now if I can move on my slides for you there. So just to give you a warm virtual handshake. I'd obviously be much nicer to meet you in person, but that's the way it is. So I am going to throw myself in at the deep end. And Maureen kind of set me this task of talking about my values, and I thought, well, look, if there's anywhere you're going to talk about them, it's at NEARI. So I didn't think it would be something I would have to share kind of initially, so I was a bit taken aback, but actually it kind of goes with the territory here. So I've been reflecting on my own values through the process of coordinating this project, and what I'm going to do is I kind of didn't know whether to share them with you at the beginning or at the end, but I kind of thought, you know, if I share them with you now, you'll get a sense of me, especially for those of you who don't know me, and perhaps they might kind of shed some light on my kind of observations later on. So I'll just let you, I've kind of narrowed it down to 3. And again, if you ask me in a couple of months' time, these could be different. So I've kind of narrowed it down to 3, so I'll let you have a read there. So you might recognize the last one. The last NEARIMeet in September was my first one, actually, and I absolutely loved Mary McAteer's talk, and I took that quote directly from her talk. We exist in relation to one another, and it's one that I've really held on to. Okay, so just to, I suppose, give you a bit of context and a bit of background. I'm a primary school teacher myself, and I was teaching in Dublin for about 10 years. And then I came out on secondment with the PDST. And just, I suppose, for those of you maybe who don't have who are not living in Ireland, you mightn't be familiar with PDST, but and actually a couple of my colleagues, just to acknowledge, are here today. So actually it's lovely to see, it was lovely to see your faces on earlier. In PDST, we're basically a support organisation. We're teachers ourselves, primary and post-primary teachers, who are on secondment from our schools. And we offer curricular support to teachers in a whole host of areas. It could be STEM, digital technologies, languages, which happens to be my team, and health and wellbeing. Okay, and this is kind of done through school visits and workshops, etc. So it's, you know, we're really privileged to be able to come out from our school on secondment and kind of upskill, if you like, and then help teachers along the way. So within the PDST, then there is the research committee, and I've been a member of the research committee for the last 2 years. And the research committee, we basically endeavour to kind of promote a culture of research within the organisation. And we do this through projects such as the self-study action research that we're currently involved in. And I have to say, it's been one of the most rewarding experiences I've had in PDST, has been on the research committee, and has really kind of whet my appetite for research. So this has led on to, obviously, the self-study. Our team leader, and Mary Roach will know him, when Connell a couple of years ago, he kind of had this idea. He was very keen to explore the whole area of self-study action research, and he got on to Mary about guiding us kind of through the process. So that's basically what has landed me here today, and I'm just going to kind of, I suppose, share some of my own kind of insights, I suppose, in being involved with the project. So the basic setup, the self-study action research is open to all advisors within the PDST. So you're talking about 180 advisors altogether. And we have 6 participating in the project this year. So they're currently kind of, you know, halfway through the project at the moment. It happens over one academic year. And expectations are kind of set out for the advisors at the beginning. So the kind of, they're told things like the learning from the project will be shared with the broader organization at the end, and you might be writing, you'll be writing up a short report. So all this is kind of laid out in the beginning, and readings are sent on, etc. So a big part of this, of course, is the support and reassurance piece. And Mary is a real rock in this, because as for those of you here who know her, and a lot of you here do know her, she wears her expertise very lightly and is extremely warm and approachable, and push participants at ease. And I know some of the participants here today would definitely agree with me. And she kind of kept the whole thing kind of light, I suppose, for the participants, which was, and was very important for me as well, who was a complete newbie to action research, having Mary there to kind of keep us grounded and keep reiterating things like you're studying your own practice. So there was lots of nuggets like that Mary gave us along the way. Also part of this support and kind of reassurance network were the mentors. So this is the second iteration of the project, and I actually wasn't involved in the first one, but the first group are now acting as mentors for the second group. So they've been actually pretty extraordinary, to be honest, because they were unbelievably willing and enthusiastic about this role. There was no such thing as, they didn't even hesitate. They were like, we would love to be mentors. And in the words of one of them, she said, I'm hoping to be a mentor rather than tormentor. So I thought that was a great line. And finally, the final piece of support that the 6 participants have is the committee itself. And that would be myself and another colleague. And we basically are there to set up the meetings. We just oversee everything. We set up the Google Docs, we send out the articles, and I kind of communicate between Mary and the mentors and the participants. So I hope I haven't bamboozled you there too much. And I hope you have a kind of a sense of where this is all, I suppose, the context. Basically, it's important to kind of give the context. So just to get to the heart of it, and I'm just going to use 4 images, and these are just my own kind of musings, my own, I suppose, reflections along the way. And again, just to explain, just to kind of highlight, I'm not actually a participant, I'm just on the committee overseeing the project. So a few things that have really just resonated with me along the way. And the first piece was the whole area of trust. And this, interestingly, I suppose, has come up a lot today. I would see the trust and the vulnerability as 2 sides of the same coin in many ways. And I've been really struck by the participants' openness to share their thoughts and their frustrations along the way. One of them talked about the comfort in the common struggle. And another participant, who is a very experienced participant, talked about how she thought she'd cracked it in her career and her experience, but actually there was so much more learning ahead. Part of this honesty as well were the mentors. They were extremely honest in their stories and sharing them with their mentees and putting them at ease. So the trust was there, I suppose, from the outset. So the second reflection is the reflection piece. I have to say I was a bit skeptical about this one. I thought it was kind of a pie in the sky thing, put away the journals and let's just do some actual work. I was a bit skeptical about the power, I suppose, of reflecting, and I have kind of done a complete 360 on this and have come to see reflection as a type of action in itself. And I mean, even, I was talking to Mary the other day about this, preparing for this, and I thought, I was like, what will I share with the group? Sure, I don't have anything to say. I'm not even doing the research. And once I actually sat down and started to put my thoughts out on paper and reflected on the last 8 months and being involved in this, I actually had learned an awful lot. So the reflecting itself was really powerful for me. And one other small thing about the reflection that really, really struck me was the kind of symbiosis between the personal and collaborative reflection. So that one was literally feeding off and refining the other. And sometimes I could literally see it on the screen in some of our meetings where participants might come and really worried and maybe kind of frustrated, and then someone would say something and it'd be kind of, now it's starting to make a bit of sense. So that was really rewarding to just witness. My third one is the whole area of language. And it's hard for me to get away from this one because I guess I have always got my language hat on me. I was struck throughout the whole thing about the language of values itself, the language of reflection, the language of research. And I don't know if you've come across the Wittgenstein, he was a philosopher of language, and he has this amazing quote, and he said that the limits of my language are the limits of my world. And I love that quote because it asks more questions, I suppose, than it answers. And some of the questions will be like, does language sometimes fail me? Does it impede my thoughts? Does maybe extensive reading on a topic arm me with more vocabulary than to allow me to kind of breathe through my thoughts more easily? And then finally, can the language of research itself, words like paradigms, and can this be off-putting? I mean, we could have a whole conference on that, but that was just a passing reflection on the whole area of language. A little bit nerdy, I know, but the fourth one is, and I'm not even sure if I have given this the correct title. And you can't be a bit of abstract art when you're just kind of not sure where you're going with something. But this, I was really floored recently. A few months back, I was reading Jean McNiff's article, 2002, on action research. And it's one of the first ones I read because it gives a really clear overview of the whole thing. And she talks about the deep need to experience truth and beauty in our personal and professional lives. So this is resonating a little bit with what Mary was talking about. And I was really floored by that. And I thought there's something special in that, you know, and because sometimes you feel like, why bother with all this in the first place? Why bother? I mean, you're just creating work for yourself, all this action research, all this thinking, and even the ethics itself is so complex. But, you know, I suppose I feel we can always strive to do better. We can always live our values more convincingly. And this is a true and important quest, in my opinion. And it might sound a bit lofty, but I feel it's definitely one worth pursuing. So that's kind of, they're my, as I said, for what they're worth, my reflections on overseeing this self-study action research project. And I'm just going to leave you with a little clip I came across a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was really beautiful. And again, I'm not going to front load anything here. I just like you to watch it and enjoy it. And I shared my sound, so hopefully you'll be able to hear it, but even if you can't. So anyway, I'll just maybe play about 15 seconds of this. So, Gaurav Mila Mahagwit, I thank you very much. I have one or two questions if you want me, if you'd like me to share them with you.
Thank you so much, Patricia. What Maureen made the comment to add, we'll follow some of the discussion in our Google group. So I think that's actually, and for Amy, for her question, the question she posed at the end of your presentation. I'm just conscious it's Saturday evening, morning for some people, and so we don't want to take up too much of people's time, and I'm going to quickly just share my screen to show you some of the comments on the Mentimeter that people have posted, and just arising from the NEARIMeet today. And while you're looking at that, if there's anyone who'd like to present at a round robin at the next NEARI, please do let us know. If you want to volunteer here and now, that's fine. Or if you care to drop us a mail, please do.
Okay, I feel really bad, you know, for Amy and Trish's input there. They were just both amazing, and I so enjoyed both of them. And the amount of questions that are ripping around in my own head is just real. So that's why I said, let's bring this over to, and we can do our, you know, we can discuss it in our email discussion group. So ladies, if you post those questions to me, I'll put them, and we might start a good conversation, because it was just fantastic. Really, I just loved what you had to say, and oh, so critical and so thought-provoking. Fantastic.